Howdy, folks. Howdy. Howdy, folks. Howdy. I'm Black Dragon, and welcome to another edition of the Round Table. Tonight, we have our co-host. Let me bring him on here real quick. Oh, wow. Hey, what's up, man? Hold on. This is not... Oh, there we go. What's up, OG Weasel? What's up, man? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we need to take you off mute. There you go. What's up, OG?
There we go. That's how they treat me, man. All's good, man. Another day in the lifestyle. You know how it is, bro.
Hey, that microphone sounded strong, man.
There we go. There we go. That's what happens when you spend $10.99 and got a coupon on top of that.
So I had a motorcycle wreck, kind of, yesterday. And I was... so everything starts in a perfect storm. Okay, so let's go back to last month when I was on my way to Tulsa. Hadn't ridden my bike in quite some time, so found that the my bike mechanic had failed to put in the headlights that I had asked for. So the one headlight I had went out, so now I can't see a damn thing. I had an emergency headlight, and Victory Visions have this one little can headlight. It's like Victory's answer to the Harley's heads up, huge night sun thing. So, I mean, it's really cool, but it shows like 12 miles down the road. It doesn't show the road in front of you. So I had to ride all the way back from Tulsa with that. So I scream, I'm screaming at my mechanic and everything, and he says, "Oh, bring it by the shop. We'll handle it." My back brakes had gone out, and they had fixed the back brakes. So I guess all they needed was bleeding. So now I got my brand new, fresh headlights done by the manager himself, and then out to Louisiana I go to bury our brothers and sisters, to have that the final rites, or whatever you want to call them. And I find out that, they put the new lights in, but they shined them up to the sky.
Oh, God.
They're shining up the same place. So I'm back with the same damn problem. I ain't got no lights. So I made it back from Louisiana in time, right as dark fell. And I pulled the bike in, parked it, and forgot about it for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So yesterday I want to go hang out and ride. And so I ride over to the Born Losers Motorcycle Club. They were having an event there, and then the Sports Club Continental was having an event that night, an annual that night. So I rides over there, telling myself, because I forgot about those lights, and I said, "Oh man, I'm just going to go for a couple hours." But I haven't been out on the bike set.
For a punchline. You don't cooperate with us, and I will make it my business to help the
Oh, come on, dog.
There you go, buddy.
Beef loves Dominican deep.
At least it wasn't porn. At least it wasn't porn.
My dog takes the one dog I have left. But anyway, so I forgot about this bike, and I told myself, "Oh, I'm just going to be gone a couple hours." But I hadn't been over to the Born Losers Clubhouse in about 4 or 5 years. And I get over there, and they treat me so wonderful and so much like family and everything. And I just wind up sitting there and sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. And now it's dark. Perfect storm here. Well, the Born Losers Motorcycle Club is started in 1959. It's like I believe it might be the oldest motorcycle club in Georgia on the black set. Anyway, and so leaving there, but they're out in the country. They're way out in the sticks.
Okay.
Well, it's not the sticks so much anymore, but when I first went out there, it was the sticks. And so they got like, these country roads with gravel and stuff on them. So as I'm coming over the railroad tracks, and I'm only doing, 10, 15 miles an hour max, just taking my time. I got the big dog on the back seat, chilling. And as I come over the railroad tracks, there's a stop sign kind of down a hill. And OG Weasel, I'm kind of lazy. I don't really use my back brake, which is
We're in
why,
the same boat.
which is why which is why it wasn't a problem when I went all the way to Louisiana or all the way to Tulsa and came back, because very seldom you got to lift your foot up to get that back brake.
And once you hit 50, man, we don't like moving but so much once we get in that saddle. You know how it is, man.
So I'm like, so I have developed a very piss poor habit of downshifting and only really using my front brake. Now, of course, in the Goldwing world, when you apply your front brakes or your back brakes, it applies some of each. I don't know if the Victory world works that way,
Mhm.
but anyway, I put on my front brakes as usual, and out of nowhere, the bike starts to fall over. And I'm thinking, I see the front end tip over and fall the hell over. Like
Oh,
for real. Like, hey,
yeah.
you thought you were on dry land, bro. You're on ice. And the front just went out from underneath me. And I'm like, I'm getting ready to bite it right now.
Oh,
I'm
man.
like, this is for real. But I've been riding my whole life. So I'm good at staying up, and I slam my foot down. And OG, the the most of the time when you do that, especially at high speed, you break your foot. You
Right.
keep yourself up, but you break your damn foot or your leg. And I've done it at 60 or 70 miles an hour before and survived with no broken legs. So here we are at 5 miles an hour. And I put my foot down, and the bike kept going and my foot stopped.
Now, did you get caught underneath it, or you just
No,
that's the big mistake?
it snapped my leg back toward from the natural progression of which the leg goes back. And I
Mhm.
felt everything pop, and my whole body went numb. Like, you just effed up. It was at that moment that I knew that I had just effed up. And I screamed, ah! And the
Hopefully
bike,
not like that, but go ahead.
no, it was just like that. Ah!
Yeah.
And then the bike keeps going, and I let up off the front brake, and the bike stands up like it's supposed to because it's rolling again. I touch the front brake, and over that sucker goes. So I got to put that same foot back down as we drag down. So we did a couple of those, and then the bike got stopped. And I put that kickstand down screaming at the top of my lungs. I didn't even have power to get up off the bike. I just fell off the mofo onto the ground
God.
in the middle of the highway, in the street with all these cars coming. And uh, this lady comes to my rescue. This lady, and she pulls her car up, and she wants to, are you okay? And by the time she got there, the pain had kind of started to subside a little bit. And I was like, ma'am, I'm okay now. No, I'm going to make sure you're okay. And she stayed there till I got back up on that bike and got. So I haven't been able to. So it feels broken. Not I can't. It's my tail where my bone goes into my hip socket, tailbone, almost like my ass almost.
Oh, jeez.
I can't sit on it. And so now my shoulders hurt because I can't sit upright. Everything hurts, man. I've been asleep all day. Last night I couldn't sleep. I couldn't find a position in which to sleep. I've been knocked out all day. I'm so tired right now, man. I don't even want to do this show.
What we're gonna do? We're gonna get you a stand-up Can-Am with a toilet seat in the middle of it. All right. So we're gonna keep you in the wind, bro.
Did you say toilet? I can't sit on that thing. It's terrible, man. It's
Man,
terrible.
it's a sad day, man. It's a sad day. It's
So
a
anyway,
sad day.
I thought I'd take a good 7-8 minutes to tell that story. I am in, but we didn't drop the bike, bro. We didn't drop the bike.
It's funny how that happens, right? When we're going down, it's like, yo, the bike, forget everything else, man. Let me tell you, man, I've been there, bro. I've been there. I know what it's like. I know what it's like.
We did not drop the bike. We kept the bike up. So I'm pretty excited about that I don't have a new bike that I've torn up, or I don't have a new bike to buy, rather. But But for as much as this hurts, I would rather just be paying for some paint right now.
Right.
Okay.
But I'm glad
$1,000
you're here. I'm glad you're
motorcycle.
here to talk about it. That's all, son.
Oh my gosh. So
That's the
anyway,
most important part.
but it's a perfect storm because I didn't get the lights fixed. They didn't fix them right. Didn't get them fixed. I'm coming over that track in the middle of the night and no lights shining on the road, and I never saw that gravel.
Wow.
And uh, this is how your motorcycle, just regular maintenance, can kill you. And when you're asking these people to take care of your motorcycle, and they're not on their game, they're half-assing or just not on their game. Everybody's got a bad day. Uh,
Yeah.
it can kill you. Uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
anyway, topic today was one that came from you.
Oh, it did? It's always for me, right? It's not from us. It's for me, right?
Well, it is from us, but
Yeah.
it's from us.
Collaboration. How about that? Okay.
Collaboration, because you gave me the basic topic and then I added onto it. So today's topic is interracial mixing in today's MCs, and I want to start it off with so we see a lot of when I first came on the set, it was clearly black, white, period. Now, I don't really know where the Hispanics and the Asians were. I never really saw them, but it was pretty much black, white, and that's what I saw. That's what I was privy to. That's what I saw, and it was pretty clear the delineations, where you would be, what you would do, who you would report to, this, that, or the other. And we have done so many videos on this, all of the various channels throughout the past several years since I've been doing channels. But something I've been noticing here lately, and I come from a club that started out segregated in 1972. In 74, declared as a motorcycle club, and by 75, we integrated. We were in a military town, so we had merchant marines and seamen and sailors and Air Force people, and we had all those things. So we quickly became an interracial club, and moved forward. Never look back. But still, in today's MCs, there's still a big racial disparity between a lot of motorcycle clubs. Racial disparity meaning we ain't letting your color in, and your color ain't letting our color in. Now, we do mix together a lot better than we ever did in terms of hanging out at each other's clubhouses and going to each other's parties. We do seem to be able to party together. And even be on councils together and this sort of thing. But the actual mixing into some clubs has been for a long time just, some people say it's prison politics. Some people say it's bylaws. Some people say it's historic. Some people say it's racism. But here lately, I've been seeing a whole lot of race mixing going on in the clubs. And I thought it was interesting when you brought it up because I think it's a cool subject to talk about. So that's my lead in. I'll let you take it.
Well, I mean, let's start it up. Let's just start by saying, at what point do we begin to break, the cultural barriers? I totally support and understand, some clubs wanting to keep, one particular nationality. And that's because that's the origin of that club. So you want to definitely keep, what your club's about. A lot of times that value is very important to certain clubs. And I totally get that and respect that. But the topic itself is more so the overall set. So when I say diversity in terms of, racial lines, we are talking about the MC set that we can kind of, we can venture off and talk about clubs afterwards. But, at some point, we're going to have to start diversifying what we do. I would call it our MC profile. If you're a cat and you're on a set and the only thing you do is you stay in a little box, And you look at yourself a few years later and you're in that box and you're going around and around and around. That's exactly what you're doing. You're going to stay inside that box. And in that box that you're in, you can't do but so much in one little box. And the thing is, we need to understand that, what we do in this lifestyle, it's about growth. And the more you extend your network, your people, the way you ride, where you go, who you interact with, that's all part of your two-world growth. Now, if you look at certain brothers that you meet, you question like, wow, how'd you get to where you at in the set, and how so many people, and so on and so on. That's because that brother or that sister didn't fear getting out there. And sometimes getting out there means going over, if you're black, going over to the white parties or going to the brown parties or whatever else it may be. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of pleasure in mixing with other nationalities. I've been in situations over the years where I walked in a room and I looked around and it's just like, this isn't good. This isn't good. And I'm like, you know what? I'm here now. Like, I'm here. So since I'm here, let's do what we do. At the end of the day, we're all bikers. And I would hope that the next brother is smart enough to look at me as a biker versus a black man that's 6'6" and 280. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Oh, you're in good shape, bro.
Yeah, a lot of McDonald's. That's all that is, man. A lot of McDonald's.
Boy.
Yeah, but it's just
slaps 280 cats in the mouth. That's all.
There's a time for that too. When the time comes for it, trust you me, everything's on point. But that's not so irrelevant, man. But it's just when you don't have that diversity in the set, you have a cultural disconnect. And what that leads to is that if I run across you and we on a set and you doing something that I may think is slick and certain things in the black culture is the norm. Then you have a white brother that pulls up the same gas station and he's seeing it as a disrespect. And simply because we have those lines that we haven't crossed to get that understanding of each other, we have conflict. That's not really conflict. It's just really just a misunderstanding. So this is important that we start to venture out and embrace, different clubs, different nations, black, white, yellow. Let me tell you something, bro. About 25 years ago, man, when I used to ride, we used to do a lot of back roads up in Jersey and New York, up in the woods and everything else. And I was messing with everybody. I was just like, I didn't care who you are. If you was riding, you were good with me. So I was riding with the white boys and everybody else. And let me tell you something, a lot of the growth that I already had came from the black side. But once I ventured out and started messing with other people, it just took me to a different level because I was learning things from that side that wasn't on our side yet. And at the same time, I was bringing back different things that we were doing, to that side. So it was kind of a good thing to have that diversity. And personally, it was a lot of growth in that, man. It was just nice to look at something and understand like why these cats is over here doing this and to relate to it and say, you know what, like I want to do that. So instead of just going to the Myrtle Beach bike weeks every year and doing the same thing, well, how about you go the week before that and let's hang out with the white boys too, you know what I'm saying? And y'all come over and hang out with the black dudes and let's just all have a good time. We're not at that point yet. It's slowly happening, but we're getting there. But what we don't understand is that it's so important to the growth and the preservation of the culture.
For me, so it's kind of funny because I've seen some people that have mentioned some top line 1%er clubs that are mixed race, and but there's a delineation. Even a club like mine is still considered a black MC. Period. We started out black. We're mixed race, but we're considered a black MC. Whenever we, a lot of times if there's a problem or something like that, a call would be sent to the black dominance first. And so even if you are a mixed race MC and you're considered to be on the black side, that's just the way it is. It breaks down like that. But for me, I do it very subtle. And you know what's happening with your mic? You keep hitting the desk, and your mic is when you hit the desk, we hear it like.
Oh, sorry about that, bro. Okay, it's amplified. Okay, we good.
A shock mount for that mic so that you.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay.
So but anyway, but for me, the big reveal, the big oh my goodness, is when I left out from San Diego and ventured across the United States of America to open up motorcycle club chapters where there were no black dominant MCs.
Mm.
So now I had to deal with whoever was in charge in that area, and it was absolutely eye opening, the difference in the cultures, the difference in how the MCs got down, the differences in so many things. Uh, and I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared for what I saw. I always thought, I've been in clubhouses where they've had the most incredibly racist things on the wall, yet the people treated me with absolute respect and allowed me to open up my chapter. It's hard to understand that and juxtapose it. So you just get to a point where, for me, is I stopped looking at all of the things people told me were divisive. I stopped looking at all the things people told me. If you see that guy with lightning bolts, he hates all black people and stuff like that. And I started looking at more about how people treated me, how me and my club, when we come there, how are we treated? Because by the same token, they could look at things that we
Right.
were wearing, our T-shirts, our symbols, this, that, and the other, and the so for me, getting out and starting clubs and chapters across the country, that's what did it for me. And then people would start to call me and consult with me and ask me to help them start their chapters. These clubs are not mine. I'm not in these clubs. I'm not in those areas. And so now I'm dealing with people from just a completely different diaspora. And I started seeing a lot of the things that were in common, started seeing a lot of the things that were apart. But I found out that once they developed respect for you, really a man walks on his respect and his reputation.
Absolutely.
Um, and that can overcome skin tones and nationalities. And that's what we've set out to do. When you see me or my brothers, you see cats that are real about what we're doing. And I believe that transcends to all races and all segments, castes, class, ilks, um, of this motorcycle club diaspora, and we have found that it is even stretched over the pond, as we have people that are watching us from South Africa, Israel, Egypt, you name it.
But
So
I need some invites, bro. I need some invites, man. I need to be somewhere in Africa on a GS12, riding somewhere in the countryside, man. You know what I'm saying? Expanding that two-wheel experience, bro.
so what are your thoughts on that?
You know what we don't realize is that how powerful the biker culture is. You know, some people are still down into this, and it took me a long time to really like think about, what we do as bikers. And I try not to overanalyze it, but sometimes you got to really sit back and like look at what's going on around you. And this started to hit me maybe about 10 to 15 years ago, because I just continued to diverse, who I was supporting and where I was going and where I was riding. And what I noticed was that along the way, the people I was meeting, I started meeting those different crowds as I was traveling more and more. And it was easy conversations. I mean, cats that wouldn't normally talk to you, but because of that common factor that we were bikers, we was able to chop it up on the road at that gas station, or if it was at the Harley dealer or wherever it was, and it finally dawned on me, like, listen, man, like the color it didn't make the difference. It didn't make a difference that I was black. Sometimes it didn't make a difference what you rode, even though we got bike prejudices, but it was it's still the common denominator that we were all bikers, and I started to really drill down on that and just understand that, what, look beyond a person's patch and see I call it their two-wheel soul. And you can kind of understand that it really doesn't make a difference who you patched up with or where you at. We're all doing the same thing. And what's happening with that is that while we're doing the same thing, we have to understand that, you know what, the more people we meet and the more that we, extend that circle. Oh man, okay, I hate to see you like that, bro. You show me your ugly face, man. I'm trying to hold together for
No,
it.
that was a sexy
I can't even
face.
talk right now, man.
No, that face was sexy. Don't do that.
Yeah, pull through it, man. Pull through it, bro. But oh man, but
In that circle, you said extend that circle.
yeah,
I'm with you.
extend extend this circle, and it's just like the importance of this racial barrier that we got to knock down. It's not just the MC; it's the overall biker culture, And I challenge anybody. Listen, this year, instead of going to all events associated with your own type, look at that Facebook calendar and say, listen, let me see what's really going on, or let me extend these circles. Let's go to events like Americade, or let me go up to like the Laconias where, we don't have that diversified crowd. And I dare you I dare you to be that brother or that sister or the white guy or black guy that normally doesn't walk through that door, and be a trendsetter. Like, be that dude. I've been there, man. Let me tell you something. I've been there, and there's about 5 minutes of discomfort. Then you're like, you know what? We all here doing the same thing, man. And then that experience, and you're like, yo, you come back and you tell your people, like, listen, man, I had a good time over here with these people.
Have you ever been to Sturgis?
Absolutely, bro. I've been twice.
I
What
want
experience,
I
man.
want to do that. I want to go to Sturgis. I typically go to the Roundup, which
Yeah.
is the African American. I don't want to say equivalent, but it's another another place you can go. I typically go there, and it's just like either right before or right after the Roundup. So I've told myself I want to go to Sturgis, and see how they do. I want to go to that damn saloon that used to be on TV.
Blue Moon. You ready, huh? You ready to get out and between that and the Buffalo, let me tell you, the Buffalo chip route.
Buffalo Chip. I want to go
Buffalo
there.
chip. You got to
just
get
to-
out
and I want to go. I just want to go hang out and check it out. I haven't been to Laconia yet, but I'm starting to get invites to a lot of stuff like that. As Black Dragon Biker TV has really become universal. And I'll tell you another thing. The success of Prospects Bible. I wrote Prospects Bible from the idea of a black dude on the black biker set, really talking kind of to my club brothers. I saw some issues in retention and keeping people. And I saw a lot of our good citizens become the good citizens of somebody else's motorcycle club, only to call up and say, man, it ain't so much different over here, man. I wish I had never left.
and
And I was like, well, what are we doing that we're losing these incredible people, and and we're losing them to nothing much really. Where they're going ain't no different than where they are. So what have I missed? I was a national president at the time. I was, well, what have I missed as a national president that I could give the guys? So you got to understand, when I wrote Prospects Bible, it was from such a small mental mind, not thinking, not realizing that, you know what, we're all people. Everything that I'm experiencing in my club, uh, black bikers and white bikers in San Diego on the black bike set, some guys in Israel are going through the same damn thing. Some guys over in the UK are going through the same damn thing. Some guys in Canada are going through the same thing, and clubs here in the United States are going through the same thing. I looked around when my book first came out. Man, they tore it up, man. They tore it apart. They called me Iron Order and everything else. Within a year, all of a sudden, all these major clubs started calling me up and saying, "Oh my goodness, this is good stuff, man." And so now it has been on the number one best-selling. That I wrote it in 2014. So that was another thing that really expanded my eyes. That by talking about our human condition, uh, all humans that experience the human condition could um, could identify. And we found that Prospects Bible is read by. Man, I tell you something. I can't. It's gotten to the point. I really just I can't go anywhere. on the biker set. If I stop into a biker shop on the road somewhere, somebody's going to come up. I read your book. So for me, that has been an incredible awakening as to what's going on all the sets.
Right, right.
And I believe that it is so important because we're under attack. The biker club world is under attack. And cops don't see white bikers, black bikers. They don't see one percenters. They don't see 99 percenters. They don't see riding clubs because we all pretty much look and act and ride the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We circle up the same. We're wearing the same ugly ass, sweaty ass leather stuff that ain't never been washed. You know,
Oh, man.
we're wearing that hot ass stuff across the desert in the middle of the summer. You know what I mean? We
Oh,
look
yeah.
bad. We're doing the same things, and they don't see us any differently. And so that's important that we know that because we better realize we got to stick together.
Yeah, absolutely. And that diversity, what we fail to realize is that, it's going to increase your relations. I want to just go back to the club side of this. Okay. So, in terms of clubs not being, diverse and keeping one particular nationality, I think that's a beautiful thing. Because you know what, like up here in New York, Jersey, New York, there's a club, Red Rum. I was just reading up on them a while back. I've been seeing these cats around for years, and they into the whole, Indian culture thing. And it took me a while. Yeah,
we say native these days.
Native American thing,
Yeah.
Native American Indian, however you want to classify. But it was interesting, and I was kind of looking at the club, and I just saw some diversity going on within that club, and I'm like, well, isn't that one particular, like culture? And I didn't quite understand it. Then it was all about the origin of the club and that what people are down into. And I think it's kind of cool if your club has an identity, then within your club and your nation or whatever it may be, to keep that particular identity. I think you should. I encourage that. But when it comes to actually intermingling on a set and and meeting other nationalities and different types of sets and everything else, I think there is where that focus should be, that open mind that we need to have to say, you know what? Let's look into expanding these relations. Let's get out there as a club or nation and go to one function that we normally wouldn't go to. And I'm telling you, just to see the looks on some faces when you walk through that door, it's going to be probably intimidating. But if you can get past that first 2 minutes to where you can get to the bar and buy that first drink and get those rounds going, that relation right there is established, bro. And the only thing it takes is if you can make it from the door to the bar and get that first round, man, you would be amazed the power of alcohol at a clubhouse. And when you support in the house and they see you walking in and y'all just kind of laying low doing your thing, like you have in essence just crossed the barrier and you open the door for the next club to walk through the door. And there we go. We have this new relationship, this expansion, and this, we need that. We definitely need that in these days and times, because we're doing quite a bit. And like you said, Black Dragon, is that we're under attack out in a sense, because like I said, they don't look at us as black, white, yellow, green. We're bikers. When you're on the road, the cop half the time, if you're rocking a full face, they don't know who's under that. The only thing they see is a biker, and they expect us to do whatever they have this the stereotype, and it's not always the case. So the thing is, listen, unity, like why would we not want to have that unity? And at the same time, why would you want not to be able to walk in any clubhouse in any state when you're traveling, and if it's a white state and that's who's there, like, listen, this is the local clubhouse. Let's run by here and see these brothers, and it's just like I said, we all bikers. So do you think they're going to turn you away? I mean, you may get a little funky feeling up front, but listen, when they see that you're a biker and you can talk the way that we talk and do what we do, when they see that, listen, you're in Nebraska, but you came down from DC, yo, man, they're going to respect that. They're going to respect that journey. You have to respect that journey. If you're out here doing what we do as bikers, listen, I'm gonna lay it up to you, bro, over and over. I don't care who you are, what nation you with. What I have personally learned, I don't look at diamonds no more. I don't look at patches. I don't look at any flash. I'm talking to you like biker to biker, and everything else, I let that kind of like stay blurred in the background, because I don't want to judge you, I just want to see you as a biker. And to me, that mindset has allowed me to get away from that face again, man. Oh, bro. God, you're gonna get through this, man. We're gonna pull you through this. No, but
Back to bed.
yeah. But I'm telling you, once you get through that particular thing, it's just a beautiful thing. I got to the point that I'll tell you a story, man. We was in Daytona Bike Week about 20 years ago, and I was kind of tired of I was on the black side for a minute. Then we was over on Main Street, and it was kind of like, all right, like there was none of us over there. And I'm saying to myself, yo, why are we not over here? Where this big party's going on. So I couldn't understand that. So I was like, all right, well, let me just hang out there. Let me tell you, bro, it was just as much fun, and the embracement slowly came one bike after the next. Then even to the point, one dude was like, listen, man, we got something going on 2 cities away. It's a swap meet. He's like, you should go check this out. So I went over there to check it out. And when we pulled up, and when you pull up, you're like, oh, man, I can't back up now. And when I say I pulled up probably to the most racist situation, and we there now because we don't came down there. We don't came down the gravel little road to where the swap meet was at. And we pulled up, and I'm like, man, listen, man. I knew that we was going to have to knock somebody out that day. And I'm standing there, and I'm like, I didn't want to get off the bike, bro. I didn't want to get off, man. But we got off. We made our rounds through the little swap meet. And we got the odds. And then after that, as we started to progress through it and we started seeing things and dudes were selling parts and we started chopping up about that, then you'll be next to that next biker and it's like, and he's talking to you now. Then all of a sudden, one person, one after another, that color boundary was crossed. We was able to see each other as bikers, man. And that's what we have to start to do is not be, I wouldn't say afraid, but we shouldn't be neglectful about opening up that dialogue. Like if you go into the Harley Davidson dealership and dude is outside, then like it doesn't make a difference, man. We all ride and just chop it up for a second, man. There's always something that we can talk about as bikers. Everybody has a story. We have commons. We have, it's so much that we can build on where we're currently at. So what we're doing, basically, we stagnating ourselves. As we always said, there's power in unity and there's growth at the same time. And if I got to see that face for one, can I buy you a mask right now, bro? I want to get you a mask, man. Listen, man. Get you a black dragon hat or something. I get it, man. Godspeed, bro. Godspeed.
Oh my goodness. What's going on? You just started echoing. Damn. Do you hear it?
Not on my side, man.
Okay. Hopefully nobody else hears it. I hear it.
Okay.
But so another thing is, I'm amazed at what I'm seeing with the young guys these days. This young generation's not giving a whole big damn about what's going on. Looks like Big Bone just text messaged me. He just got in from his meeting, so I think he might be on in just a minute.
Oh, good stuff. Looking forward to it.
Watching these young guys come in, especially in the My Club, and these guys, they don't give a damn about this racial stuff. Like they're looking for brotherhood and leadership, identity and unity. Oneness of mind and oneness of breath and oneness of spirit. And I'm also meeting a lot of guys who spent time in the military, like Lieutenant Colonel Richie here, who has his show, Lieutenant Colonel Richie's View. And one of the things he said was, since I was in the Army and everybody was everybody's brother and we had each other's back, I can't join a motorcycle club that looks down on one or the other, or won't let somebody in or something like that. I think it's going to be important, especially as we're facing some of the crises that we're facing. You guys got to look around, bro. Some of this stuff is so insidious that we're going through. Like, how do you tell somebody there's going to be a food shortage and then there's a food shortage? Like, we can tell there's going to be a food shortage in 6 months. Like, how can you tell that if it's scary? And you don't know, you just don't know. Like the people in Katrina didn't know. You don't
Right.
know when you will have to be in a situation where it damn sure would be nice to have some people you could depend on. And it's going to be these tribal ties, because it's going to be tribes that survive if things got like they could get.
Right.
And it would be tribes, tribal uh, trading and commerce and security and existence between these tribes. And our motorcycle clubs are already established, real, moving, tribal situations that that would benefit if things should go bad by all of the having as many alliances as it possibly could. What do you think about that?
I agree. I agree. Like I said, and it's good that a lot of the younger brothers that's coming into the life that they're a lot more open minded. I mean, people like myself and yourself, we may be a little regimented, in our thinking at times. Like even like embracing some of this new stuff that's happening on this set. It's hard sometimes to change and what we do. And I think just a lot of this, is just old habits. It's just old habits and it's untested waters. So, I mean, if you're out there and you're a club president, I mean, think about just getting out there once and say, you know what, let's just do this. Even if it's just for the fun of it, like get out there and venture out and do something that out of that box that we spoke about, that box that your club may be in, and give it a shot. And I'm telling you, once you open up certain doors in this life of ours, and this time is being the racial door, like you will appreciate it. I mean, there's no way that you can't appreciate and doing something different as a biker. Everything that I've done, I may not have enjoyed it all, but it was a learning lesson. It was something that was in my two-wheel box that I was able to bring to the table, and not for nothing. Right now, probably one of my greatest things is that having that diverse profile of being able to ride with any and everybody. Like to me, that means something, man. What that means is that, I'm grown enough to look beyond the color factor. Right. And say, like I just don't see it no more. To me, I just don't see black or white. And I don't know at what point that I got to that point, but it's just like, you ride. And that's what we have to understand. We just bikers. And once we get that under our belt, like we're going to start moving differently. And you don't understand the impact that can have on the growth. And now you're talking about maybe expanding who's going to come through that club door. I mean, you never know what relations that comes through with certain individuals, because we all have backgrounds and, and depending on where you came from, like everybody brings something to the table. Sometimes it's this culture. If it's a white guy coming to a black club, well, maybe he's bringing that understanding, and he may be that gateway that allows you to walk into a house that you couldn't walk into previously. I just appreciate all the diversity that I'm seeing. And up north, even with some of the diamond clubs that were not mixed, we're starting to see some integration. And I was like, okay, I had to sit back for a second because I wasn't like, I started getting phone calls. I was getting phone calls and some things. And I'm like, oh, okay.
You can't just sneak that one in. You can't just sneak that in. We got.
We ain't gonna touch on it too much, but
we got to segue into that for a minute or two.
Yeah.
So some of listen, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm getting these phone calls that certain traditionally all white diamonds are getting some black dudes that ain't Mexican, ain't Hispanic, ain't Puerto Rican, ain't Dominican, that are actually real bros. I haven't seen it with my own two eyes yet, but I'm getting these phone calls of folks saying, yeah, that's happening. And what do you think? I have my own view, but what do you think would happen if such a thing happened on if some of those big clubs just said, to hell with it, we're taking just the best people we can get? What would happen?
I think that's the next level of growth. I mean, that's the expansion that somebody is seeing that vision and saying, you know what, right now there's a whole different set over here. And somebody is seeing that, you know what, like we can get over here and just grow as bikers and as a set, as a community. So people are starting to see that outreach and saying, you know what, maybe we've gotten to a point that we've grown and we've capped ourselves on this side. And we almost, I wouldn't say need it, but
So check this out.
it's a weird thing that's happening. I'm trying to understand it, and I'm trying to see if it's the right thing. I know that it's weird because you know what's going to happen, because you're going to have that situation where some people can't get over the racial barriers. So you may have some that open the door and allow some of the brothers in, or whoever it may be, and then you're going to have that 25% that's in the corner.
Yeah.
So
they'll die out though. They'll die out.
They will die out.
Here's my thing.
With time.
I'm chopping at the bit to jump in here. So I come from a mixed race club, and I love my club, but I have never wanted to see the big 1%ers
really
be mixed race.
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted to see like the Hells Angels or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden open up and just be mixed race. I you know why?
Why's that? Mm-hmm.
Because I'm afraid for the legacy of the true all black diamond. So let me kind of explain what I mean. When so I take it back to the Negro Leagues, and during the time when black and whites were not allowed to mix in sports, you had the Negro Leagues, and the Negro Leagues was a huge financial contributor to the African American diaspora in America. So there were all kinds of jobs there. There were team owners, and there were team players, and there was concession stands and people that owned the ballparks, and there was a whole thriving economy. Black uniform makers, black people that make gloves and baseballs and shoes and all the things that was vital to us. Right. So then the leagues come in, the majors come in, and when they came in, they only came in to strip the Negro Leagues of the biggest, baddest, brightest superstars. Mm-hmm. So they came in and they stripped all the stars out, and those stars became marginal or regular or some celebrated players in the major leagues, and then the entire Negro Leagues was abandoned. And so when they came in, they didn't come in with jobs for everybody. So if you were a black concession owner, now you are a concession owner at that field. No, you won't get those contracts. And if you were a black guy that was taking care of the field and you had the grounds and the lawn and all that, no, you didn't get to go over there and own the lawn business. You might be able to go over there and work for the guy who owned the lawn business. So they stripped out the best pieces, and that whole financial industry became people who had to go find a damn job. So team owners, your second string, third string, regular baseball players that weren't really all that great, but they could make money playing ball, they were gone because the stars were sucked out. So I've always feared for that among the black biker set, that if the top big clubs, the top big diamonds say, okay, we're opening up, do we see a loss of the strength of the black biker set run by the black diamond dominant? Mm-hmm. And I very much appreciate having the ability to be able to matriculate on both sides, but I absolutely appreciate where I come from and the folks that brought me up, and there is a loyalty that I have. We don't always get along with our kinfolk,
right?
but
Absolutely,
that's where we come from, and I would hate to see so many folks go running over because they don't have an idea that we're not as good, or they have an idea that we're not as good as those other folks, but right, maybe because their names or whatever. So that's why, in my own way, I'm very fine with all the 99%ers and all that mixing up and everything, but I don't particularly have to see myself personally that ever happen, and I would be okay with it. Does that make me a bad person? It makes me a bad person, doesn't
No,
it?
actually, what's funny? There's a lot of valid points you made there. I mean, you just opened my eyes to a different way of looking at that. I looked at it. It is progress. Definitely is progress if that door is open. But like you said, you don't want to lose your cultural identity. We fought a long time. Like most of the black diamonds right now go back to the '60s. I believe you have a couple of sets. I think it's the three major black diamonds that we have out there. They go back to the '60s, and you don't want to lose that. I mean that establishment, that those road barriers that were crossed, those lines, that's important. That's part of our identity. And like you said, if we lose some of our heavy hitters and everybody's crossing over, and yes, we get the diversity, but we also in change, sometimes you lose your identity. So I mean, those are just factors we have to think about. It's important. Nobody's going to understand us the way we understand us. And even though we can intermingle, we still have a different culture in a sense. And like I said, I love the diversity fact, but I do understand what you're saying, that we just want to still have some sense of independence so we can hang together, but we can go home alone, if that makes sense.
But some people say, why? This is America. Why should there be any diversity whatsoever? Why are we not some one homogenous thing? And I don't know. I don't know if we're headed there or not. I don't know what 200 years from now is going to show. But folks like us grew up with culture and heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Just like all the people that are watching this show. So that it's still important to us.
Right.
But we see society whittling away at all of that. But you see the right side standing up in places like Texas saying, "Hey, man, you're not going to tell us who can use the bathroom. You're not going to tell us who can get married." I mean, society and American society, you're starting to see them fight hard to maintain the identity when you got folks have just like taken over the school systems.
Right.
We're going to teach what the hell we want to teach. I see stuff on television, commercials that I just never thought I would see in my life, in terms of how they're presenting normal families to be. And those ain't no normal families I ever grew up with. I'm not saying that they don't exist as families, but I don't know when it became the norm that they start switching out who's mom and who's dad, all this kind of stuff. And so you're seeing, so culturalism and family and society, it still plays a role. And you're seeing in this country right now,
Mm-hmm.
certain groups that have sat back and just allowed a lot to happen and go on. And you see those groups really fighting hard right now, saying,
Right.
no, we don't agree with all that stuff you're doing, and we don't have to, and we don't have to be ashamed because we're not. So I think you're gonna see this attack on society continue. And I hate to be the guy, the bearer of bad news, or the harbinger of fear, or whatever the case may be, but I really do trust my brothers that wear my patch,
Mm-hmm.
that are going to stand up with me, and we're going to be as one. And so I think it's important that we continue to teach the youngins the way that things should be.
Right. Well, let's go back to your point, bro. You was talking about us losing the potential of losing the black identity in a set, and to kind of keep that separate. And I get that. And I'm going to give you my reason why I support the integration on the white set. And part of that is that, like what that does now, it gives us a footprint. Now we're in the house. I'm not saying that, there's an agenda, but now those lines are being crossed. And we have those brothers that are now diversifying that big four set, which is a beautiful thing, in my opinion. Now, the thing is, everything has a beginning. Like you were saying that you're concerned about us losing our identity, but you have to realize you never know the brothers if you're saying they're taking the elite brothers and bringing them over to the big four, well, we have to realize who we're talking about. We're talking about people that have established themselves, that's been acknowledged. So obviously, if you're being pulled, to the big leagues, then obviously there's something about you that somebody is seeing. You have to look at it from that way. And at the same time, you don't know who that brother's going to be in 4 or 5 years. You look at it like the Obamas, when he was in Congress and then went to the Senate, then he didn't imagine himself being president, I'm sure, X amount of years before that. So we have to, keep our thinking open that, that integration could be a plus, because now you can look up and have one of the big two, not the big four, but one of the big two, and have a brother sitting in that number one position. So you just don't know what can happen 10, 15, 20 years down the line. So at the same time, we don't want to stifle, ourselves and our own personal growth. And we can sit back and go, God, man, that brother is number one in that nation. Like, I've never pictured that day. So it's just a reality, bro. Because some brothers is willing to put in the work, and they got that serious mindset. Some of us take this real serious, and you never know the potential of certain people, and you put them in a situation. And some cats, man, can really maneuver, and the things that we do here in the set. So, and that potential, I'm telling you, man, if you can get buy-in from the right people, and you're going to slide right through the motions, and before you know it, you sitting on that national level, and it's like, oh man, okay.
Oh, looky here, looky. Somebody just came on.
yo, welcome, Big Bone.
No, we don't hear you.
I was going to say for the record, I disagree with all that stuff y'all was just saying. My attorney just told me that was a bunch of bullshit, but I mean that's what he was saying, and I co-sign. You know how he gets down. I co-sign that, even though I don't know what we were talking about.
Hey. What's good, man?
So we are talking about the intermingling of MCs and the races, and we just got off the subject, or maybe we're finishing the subject of a lot of the some what you would consider traditionally white diamonds. I've been hearing lately that they've gotten some real actual black folks in the club. And I haven't seen one personally with my own two eyes, but I've been hearing this. So we talked about that for a minute, and I gave my idea why I don't particularly think it's a good thing. And I said, just looking at the Negro Leagues, how all of the stars of the Negro Leagues, then we lost the Negro Leagues.
Well, look,
so, that was kind of where I went.
So I wasn't going to say nothing, but Straight Jacket 5150 said that Big Bone brought the racism back. It's what he said. But no, I'll tell you what. So I was talking to Clayton Bigsby the other day. Y'all know Clayton Bigsby, right? Y'all know Clayton Bigsby?
No.
Okay. So, all right. That's Dave Chappelle did a skit with a black dude who was blind and thought he was.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
His name was Clayton Bigsby, and he divorced his wife because his wife was a N-word lover. Once he realized that he wasn't white because he thought he was white because he was blind. Anyway, so I'll come back to Clayton Bigsby later on. It's real for anybody who knows what I'm talking about. That's very funny. But y'all cats was a little slow, so I'm going to let it.
I knew. I now that you said who he is, I'm on it. I'm there.
Anyway, so here's the thing, and this conversation comes up surprisingly an awful lot. Not because of the reason that I think a lot of people might think, but it comes up an awful lot because of the fact that it is 2022, and a lot of folks have kind of caught up to speed. We don't spend a lot of time hating on each other because that guy's got a good tan and that guy don't, and da. And don't get me wrong, there's some cats that's been around forever on both sides who have some issues, or they're still stuck on that old, the old school racism or whatever, right? And especially now in the and look, I'm going to say it like I mean it. Y'all can cuss me out later on, but in the age of Trump, it's a lot of cats who they're really on that racism. And if you say anything about race, oh, you're a racist, you're a reverse racist, and they come with all that old BS. But real talk, right? It's a lot of folks who are over that. We've moved forward. It's a lot of folks who are desperately hanging on to that stuff. The MC, the set, the motorcycle community has that figured out better than most. We got that figured out better than most. And if we kind of sort of, and I'm not saying the rest of the planet is gonna, follow our lead. I
Mhm.
wish they would. I wish
Yeah.
they would because, look, I spend time with. The reason I'm late, I was at a pretty impressive, important COC meeting today. We had INCOM. That's the national COC. Basically, we did that last week in Nashville. It was straight fucking fire. It was good. Um, Followed up by this weekend INCOM in our area, Central Florida. We call it WFL COC. Dude, nothing but good stuff, right? And you got some clubs, just all black clubs. Oh, did I say that? Yeah, all clubs, all black, everybody black. But guess what? Nobody trips when you say such and such a club, and then you actually point out, oh, by the way, that club's all white. Well, they've been all white. They've been all white forever. So don't trip on the fact that it's an all black club all of a sudden who's been around for 50, 60, 70 years, because there's been all white clubs doing it. But here's the thing, even though there's all white clubs and all black clubs and even all Latin clubs, we don't trip on that. We get along. We work some things out. We talk about some things. We've come to a wonderful understanding that the rest of the planet ain't figured out yet. So once the rest of the planet can kind of figure out how to get down the way we get down, we might be all right.
Yeah, it's going to take some time. I mean, we just came a long way. I mean, not for nothing. I look at the hands that I shake these days. They were not the same hands that I could have shook 20 years ago. And it's weird. I don't know if it's because we put our boots down and we just kind of demanded respect, or just the fact that we've evolved with time. And sometimes I think it's the way that the set is moving, because the set is kind of, the set is almost pushing through certain doors. And the thing is,
Sure.
the black set is not as big as it was, 20 years ago. 20 years ago, the growth that we've had,
Yeah.
and now it's like, hey, we're here. We're here. We're not going nowhere. And he's still making that face. Look at that face, Bone. Look at that face. But the thing is, we're just making that statement that, we're here, and it's being noticed. There we go. Yeah, it's just being noticed now. And it's like, like, we have a strong presence, and it's a demanding presence, and we're making a lot of moves, from the bikes that we ride to the, to the growth of the diamond set and everything else. And it's like, wait, these cats is really living this lifestyle, and a lot of people really are. And you have to look at that. If you are on the other side of the fence, it's like, maybe we need to know what's going on over there, and vice versa, on both sides. And this is just, this is part of this growth that we're seeing in everything in life. It's just, you can't avoid the inevitable that one day there's going to be a lot more integration to what we may desire. And if you have those cats that, that don't want to be around blacks, yellows, or greens, then you know what? Not for nothing. If a cat doesn't like you, if you talk to him long enough, and you almost force yourself into that situation, and with time, people get over stuff with time. People change, and they start to see you in a different light. No matter what it is, they personal things. When they get to know you as a brother, as a biker, things become very different. It's the thing called respect in our story.
Well, I agree with you, and I do. I don't want to suggest that I do not agree with. I agree with you. I guess a caveat or like a little fine tuning is depending on where, and this comes up so much, and I get sick of saying it, but geography, depending on where in the world you're talking about, because if we're talking about Idaho, the brothers in Idaho, they've had some heavy lifting for a long time. If you're talking about Atlanta, not so much, because the brothers in Atlanta do what they do, been doing what they've been doing for decades. It's a different picture. It's a different look. I can tell you, I'll share with you in the case of, and I'm going to censor myself a little bit. In the case of my club started because many moons ago, some cat said, "Hey, none of you guys can be in our club because y'all ain't white." That club does not exist anymore because the cats that got this thing started said, "Oh, really? Okay, we'll do our own thing. And by the way, y'all gone." And I'm just, a little snapshot. Now, I'm not going into great detail on it, but my thing is like this. And that was a long time ago, a really long time ago. And Depending on what you're talking about. Some place said, "Oh, you got to work your way in, and you got to earn some respect, and you got to this, that, and another thing." Other places were like, "Man, we're gonna do what we do, and y'all will come around. Not me. We ain't chasing you. We're doing our thing, and we're gonna do our thing in such a fashion. Whereas eventually, you're gonna have to come knocking on our door. It's not the other way around." And I'm not trying to be all but I'm keeping it 100. Depending on where you're talking about. And Dragon, you know what I'm talking about in LA. LA, on the West Coast, depending on where in the West Coast you're talking about, whether you're talking about North Cal or freaking Southern Cal, different things. It was a chore out there, depending on where you're talking about and when you're talking about. But I'll say this last thing. I'm going to shut the hell up for a minute. But our thing is like this. Some of my what's that shit my daughter said? My besties. Some of my besties, white boys from a different diamond club, and we chop it up every day. Did some stuff with them today. Everything's good, right? But here's the thing: is that it's 2022 and we're in Florida and we move a little different. But like I said, 2022 and Florida, we move a little different. Every place ain't like here, and there's a lot of places that's still dealing with that 1913 attitude. I've literally not that long ago in 2007, or as you were 2006, I went to my first COC meeting, and the dude told me, "Oh, you're riding a white man's bike." I was like, right here, Jesus. Who said, "Oh, what's going on? You're riding a white man's bike." Dude, this was not 1915. This was 2006, I think it was. 2006. And I was like, what the hell? So, and I could expound on that story quite a bit, but my point is though, and look, it's up to us at that point. And when I say us, I mean the brothers, the black dudes, and the white dudes who ain't with that BS. We got to call it when we see it. We got to check it when we see it. We got to make the corrections when we see it, because otherwise it's going to continue to go on. Because there's clubs, y'all know about the 3 Cs. No cops, no C word for females. I mean, because I'm trying not to get you messed up.
That's right.
I quote myself. I'm proud of me. No cops, that bad C word for females, and no colors. So the 3 Cs: no cops, no colors. It is 2022, and I have talked to clubs as recently as a weekend ago who says, yeah, we got to get down with that. We got to go with the Cs. And it's 2022.
Yeah.
We have friends, me and BD have mutual friends who have caught hell behind dealing with me and him in this environment because me and BD got good tans and this cat didn't. And he got in all kinds of issues behind because he's cool with me and BD, Black Dragon, And it is 2022. So don't think it's not going on. It is. We have to do our job. I mean, anybody who knows better, if you know better, do better.
Absolutely. And that's what I was saying earlier, that we just almost have to push through these doors, on both sides. I like the way that you said, Bone, about, not saying just the blacks, it's the whites as well, man. This is a two-way street, and if you're a white guy out there right now, like I said, well, party, come hang out with the bros sometime. You know what I'm saying? If you see that brother, you at that gas station, have that extended conversation, and it's just these right now, my phone, man, I got so many of some of everybody in it. And sometimes it's funny because it's like, man, like, I just don't care who you are. And I've gotten to the point, man, that I've grown so much. Like, I got to the point, I don't even care what you ride, bro. Like, if you riding and if you have something, and it's just like this, if it's bike stuff and you doing some real biker stuff, that's all I care about these days. And I think a lot of MCs need to get that mentality. Like, listen, like, let's just do some bike stuff. Look beyond all the generic stuff, and like you said, the geography of things is definitely going to have an impact. I mean, on the northern side of the states, from like the 95 corridor, I call it, from Maine down to Florida, it's definitely a whole different party. But once you get in that Midwest, it's not as easy to get that diversity that we desire, but that comes with time, and that comes with us as we're moving and as we, making those relationships. If you're meeting somebody on the East Coast and they're from that Midwest, well, maybe that new relationship is going to help you, to go through that new door, and that's what we want to do. We just want to keep opening doors and expanding what we're doing, and we just have to understand that, especially the club leaders. If you're a club leader, like, grow your club. Don't be scared to do something different. And I'm going to keep saying that because that is so important to the growth of this set in your club as well.
True. However, we should point out that and again, this is a new day and everything, but if you're still riding a Suzuki, we hate you. We don't like you in Suzuki.
Yeah.
We know who you are, and we're watching you. We don't like you all. Yeah, honestly.
We love all bikers, man.
I'm just playing. So there's somebody out there.
What we hate is them raggedy ass Harleys.
No. We had somebody with an M109 that was like, "Oh my God, what did he just say?" And then you messed it up by talking about those most pristine Harley Davidson American-made motorcycles. Because and here's the thing: people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to say it, but Black Dragon is racist against Harley Davidson motorcycles. He's a racist. He's a Harley racist. It's true. Ask anybody; they'll tell you.
They won't tell you.
Man, say it isn't so, Dragon. It's all American, right? But you know what's funny, man? I
know you didn't say that. No, you didn't. That got more Japanese parts on that thing. Okay, let me not get in trouble. I just enjoy riding by them on my victory when they're broken on the side of the road.
Wow.
And then they stop making my bike. To hell.
They don't like your bike.
Obviously. Oh my goodness.
But what I like the most is that, we're just starting to see each other differently. I just picked up this chopper. I added a chopper to the collection. I wanted to do something sexy. So I was out, it's about 2 weeks ago, moving around, and I pulled up to a little quick check up here. And coincidentally, a dude was on a big dog, which is another type of chopper.
I remember those.
And yeah, it's nice piece, man. Nice little, I think it was a 280 back there, 250, whatever, stretched out, 47-degree stretch on that.
$60,000-$70,000 back then.
Yeah. It's not a cheap situation when it comes to those choppers, man. But so I pulled up. I'm like, oh man, dude is on a chopper. So I kind of course I'm gonna pull up next to you, man. So I pulled up to dude, I'm looking at his bike. I'm like, yo, man, nice bike, and he's looking at me like, like for a second, like, what are you doing with that? But it was funny. We got through that weird moment because he's looking like nice bike, but how'd you get that? We chopped it up for a minute or two, and it was just that's the moment that I'm talking about that we need to sometimes push through. Because I could have been like, yo, you racist mother, like I could have had that mindset, and been ready to check him. I'm like, I could have been like, yo, what you looking at me like that for? I shouldn't be on this. I could have been ignorant in the situation. But the thing is, when we open our minds and we don't mind having those conversations, it's a good situation. But the end result of that was that dude and I was like, yo, here's my number. Let's get together. Man. And that's what I'm talking about. It's things like that. Is that if we start to look at things differently, it's that open door that we're doing one at a time. And that's what we're not realizing. It's how you react to situations. And if you're going to act in ignorance, then sometimes you're also setting the stage for the next brother that's going to be riding right behind you.
If you have the opportunity, should it come to pass where you and him, since y'all exchanged numbers and everything, then he might have, like a wow or had a stand back moment about that chopper. Maybe you could share with him where choppers came from, the history of it, like who made them first.
Yeah.
Why did
about the Sugar Bears of the world and
I'm going Sugar Bear, Cliff, all them cats.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And some people get wild when you start to really talk about the culture. It's like an instant respect when they start to talk about things that you think you don't know, that you shouldn't know about it. You talking about the Harley Evo motors and everything, and you're going back in the days of the fanheads, and it's like, oh, this dude is really serious. Like, okay, all right, and that's
some cats don't want to, like I'm saying, a legitimate. I don't want to know nothing good about any of y'all black so-and-sos. But someone who legitimately loves and respects the culture, they're going to legitimately want to know the truth about how did this come about.
Right.
They're not gonna do the Trumpism and try to like rewrite history on it, because we know it was a couple of brothers from a club that's not my own, Duggan, what do you call those guys? Cliff and what do you call them guys? From Chosen Few. Those guys made like that what do you call that bike? American the Captain America bike.
Captain America bike, yeah.
The Captain America bike was made by a couple of cats from Chosen Few, Cliff and the other brother, who had been doing that for a minute. And then now all of a sudden you're supposed to look funny because you own one? Come on now.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
I'm not beating up on the cat that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
That's your job to educate these cats so
Absolutely.
they can be like, oh wow, didn't know that. Oh wow. It's like black cowboys. Folks are now just shocked and amazed that there was black cowboys. Man, about 2/3, 1/3 to 2/3 of the all the cowboys is black. In fact, the reason that they say cowboy is because if you was a white man, you was a cow hand, or you were a
Cow puncher.
You're a cow puncher, or you're a ranch hand. But if you was a black dude, you were a cowboy. And guess what? The Cowboys did it really good. They did it really, really good. So now you got all these other folks saying, no, I'm a cowboy too. I'm a cowboy too. Yeah, because that's how we got down. That's why the whole thing, nobody calls themselves a cow hand and a cow puncher no more. Everybody wants to be a cowboy because the brothers was doing their thing, man. So just like with this bike thing, education, man, help these folks. It's your job, my job, his job, everybody's job to educate these folks, man, and bring them on board and help them understand. And people who really love our culture, who love what we do and love how we get down, they don't got time for the racism and the bullshit. They're going to be like, hey, you know what? Let me appreciate that. That don't mean that you did it, Dragon, or I did it, but it comes from our folks. It comes from our history, our lineage. So we can't be all that bad.
Yeah.
And Dragon is because
you're all that bad, but the rest of us are.
No, but just to reiterate the point that was made earlier, that this is just not an all black thing. This is black to white and white to black. So this is definitely a two-way street, and the importance of it happening on both sides, it's definitely going to be beneficial to everybody in the long run. So if you're a white dude, and you see something, like, let that brother know, like, hey man, did you know? Because let me tell you something. When no matter how long I've been in this lifestyle, I love to listen and learn when somebody can tell me something that I didn't know. And I can raise my eyebrow like, oh, word? Like, I get impressed easily. When it comes to this bike stuff, I'm stupid now, and I get impressed real easily with stuff. So it's like, and I take pleasure in anybody that can teach me anything. It's a good situation. Then if you're from a different culture, then you have my attention on a different level, because I'm like, I want to see through your lens of how you seeing this whole thing. So it's always good for me, to like hear these different things, especially at the dealerships. I find that when I go to the dealerships, it's a different type of conversation, that's being had. And a lot of times, I'll wiggle my way into the conversation. If we sit in that break room waiting for the bikes to get ready or whatever, it's always like, it's a unique experience, because they're always amazed that we have a knowledge of some of the bikes. Then you turn that around and it's kind of like, you're learning, but at the same time, some people are really impressed. And we have, as brothers, we have definitely come a long way in terms of what we're doing with these Harleys and our understanding of the history of them and the culture and the whole club thing. But we just got to, once again, we want to continue to move forward in what we're doing. And I'm telling you, in 10 years from now, we're going to have this conversation, and you're going to see more, a lot more diversity in the big fours. And, that's just part of progress. 20 years ago, we would have never been having this discussion about brothers going to the big fours and all this diversity that's starting to happen. And, this is just the way that we are moving these days. Even like now with the integration of the auto clubs and all the stuff with the bike scene and all that, that's just, once again, it's another diversity that's taking place. It's just the type of diversity that's happening in the MC.
Well, two things. One, you're absolutely right. And I think that education, information, no matter where it's coming from, and I went from talking about Cliff and those guys because of the circumstance that you mentioned.
Mhm.
Information and education is good. I don't give a damn who did it. If it's related to this culture that we do, let's
Right.
appreciate it. Everybody should appreciate it. But it's very important to not to dismiss our participation in our history of it. So there's that. But then the other thing is like this: is that for lack of a nicer way to put it, um, let me check myself. Okay, so when it comes to like Harley and like that, I think, excuse me, one of the things that when you said 20 years from now we'll have a different conversation, but 20 years ago we did have a different conversation because I know for a fact I've heard from way too many old heads who were from different clubs, not just my club, many different clubs. They said back in the day, you know, they were told straight up, well, Harley Davidson, that's a white man's bike, and you couldn't buy one. You could not go to Harley Davidson. If it was 30 years ago, you could not go to Harley Davidson.
So how long ago was 1986? How many years ago was that?
Why would you make me do math on a Sunday?
Right. I think that might have been like 30 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, carry the one. God damn it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
I got it right here.
about
2022
30 years ago.
minus 1986. The reason I want to make this point
Mm,
is it wasn't that long ago. So that was 36 years ago.
mm.
And it was 1986 when I was told in San Diego, California, that I couldn't buy a Harley. This is San Diego.
I've been told that so many times. My thing was, I've always had, excuse me, I've always had white friends. And then when I was younger, which you probably know this, Dragon. I used to race sport bikes. I could buy 20 different sport bikes, nobody cared. But the first time I went to talk about buying a Harley, I had to have all these conversations, and people who I imagine was trying to help me were like, "Oh well, sure. Are you really sure that that's what you want to do? Let's look on, and there was no such thing as offer up and all that kind of stuff back then. But well, let's go to the trading post and let's do it this way because we were going to find something that was not in the dealership, talk to somebody else, because if I had walked my ass into Harley, I might have had a very different experience because it was pointed out so many times. Back once upon a time, and that sounds crazy, right? But once upon a time, none of us could walk into a Harley Davidson dealership and buy that motorcycle because that was a white man's motorcycle. As crazy as that sounds right now, it sounds nuts, right? Now it's 2022, man. So and so, you better hurry up and give me your money. That's 2022, but not that long ago. Nah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, but here's the thing: because the culture was so inundated with racism back then, you couldn't even buy the motorcycle that you wanted to buy.
Without figuring out some kind of weird way.
We move forward.
Yeah.
But we can't forget about from whence we came. You know what I mean? Because there's still guys hanging on to that kind of stuff. We have to each one teach one. We have to, I'm talking white folks, black folks, everybody. We have to be sure that we teach each other to, man, let that go. How stupid was that? You know? Anyway.
So my challenge question to the people that's listening is to, ask yourself, what is it that I can do to help cross this racial barrier? Where can I go next year? What party can I attend? Who can I meet? I'm telling you, and this if you had that one person that made that one step, that one relationship, you don't realize that one relationship, you don't know who you're talking to sometimes. And sometimes if you meet that right person, some people can kick down doors for you. You just don't realize who. I never downplay anybody that I meet because you just don't know their story. You can't judge a book by its cover. And like I said, you may meet Dragon on the street and don't realize his reach. And you're in that dealership and, y'all had that conversation and you looked at him like, oh, just another, getting a Harley or getting the Victory. Oh, wait, Victory's closed, right? They don't have a dealership no more. My bad. Well,
but you can still get one though, damn it.
You may be at a used bike dealership
talking used as hell, but you can still get you one.
Yeah, but we just can't downplay, who we are as bikers when it comes to meeting other people. So, and I just, like I said, I just want to challenge everybody to at least this year, meet somebody that you wouldn't meet and just have that conversation, and you just don't know who's going to be your next bro.
Well, listen, guys, we have been here an hour. Thank you, TLO Barton, for that wonderful donation. Let's see. Good to see you're doing well, Mr. Dragon. Allow me to buy you some cold beers. Enjoy your day. I'll take those cold beers because my ass hurts. I hurt, man. You wasn't on here, Bone. I had a little accident last night and almost busted my behind wide open, my leg. I can't sit, and sitting on my booty, it hurts. So I'm ready to be done. I'm so glad to that I did this show. I wasn't going to do the show tonight, but somebody said my wife sent me a message, and she said, "I know you're watching Black Dragon right now, but I need you for something." And then she told him what she needed, and then told him, "Okay, go back to Black Dragon." So we got to come on here, guys, because people want to see us. These are our bosses, and we are I'm interviewing more people to get more folks on the show and more guests and everything. We're gonna, we're really having a good time with this, and it's gonna be even better. So, any final words on this, guys? We're just about a little bit over an hour now, so it's about time to bring it in. What about you, OG Weasel?
Just continue to move in the right direction. We're definitely doing the right thing. And it's just good to see the change. I mean, looking back and where we were at and where we're at now, it's just beautiful, and just realize that this is part of your twofold growth, that change that we're talking about.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Love you so much. And Big Bone, 1%er, OFFO. What happened to you? We can't hear you, man.
Sorry. Okay. I was talking cash, SHI, I was not on here for no hour. First of all,
got me all parched.
No, but
somebody wasn't on time, but
Hey, look, guess what? Real talk. I was out doing biker stuff. I had COC today. It was all kinds of good stuff. Income last week, COC today, and
give us something from Income. While you got a minute or two, give us something from Income.
I will. In fact, we covered some of it at our thing today. So Income, dude. First of all, super impressive. All kinds of clubs from freaking North America, all there. And every year it's the same thing. They coming in from somewhere everywhere. There's this attorney, Jerry Theophilopoulos, and that's his real name. I practiced saying that name, but Jerry Theophilopoulos did a seminar on it was called Criminal Law the RICO conspiracy. And dude, when I tell you, the room was packed, and the information that came through that seminar was worth gold. People would have paid money for it. In fact, some of them did. But we learned a lot of stuff because there's stuff that's going on all the time in the clubs. And I'm not saying every club is different, right? But if you're a biker and you're riding your motorcycle, you need to know about this stuff. There's some places in the country, whereas what they do is you're riding by on your motorcycle and they say, "Oh, we need to do a safety check." They're doing a safety check because all of a sudden you must not be safe because you're riding a motorcycle and you got a patch on your back. Or you're a club member, you're a black guy and you got a patch on your back. You can't be safe. Let's do a safety check. Well, we learned the result. We learned how to deal with that because that's an actual real life thing. Because they do the safety check and use every opportunity there is to go through your stuff and to this, that, and the other thing and to run you and all of this other kind of stuff. And guess what? It's illegal. In pretty much almost every state, it's illegal to stop you for the quote unquote safety check. We learned about that in the COC. But guess what? They're doing it all over the place and folks don't even know about it. We learned about a lot of things. Did you know that there is a difference between about RICO, like the RICO laws that they use to go after the mafia and they use to go after the quote unquote motorcycle clubs that they don't like? Did you know that most of us think about most of us think about RICO being a criminal sort of a thing. You know, they have a civil version of RICO that
Oh,
they can use whenever the hell they want.
And
They can't get you with one, they
better.
get you
It's
with
better
another.
for them because they don't have to prove your money is illegal. Like when you get pulled over, you have the presumption of innocence. When
Right,
you pull your money over, your money doesn't have the presumption of innocence.
right. Well, it's what they call the oh Lord, let me try and see if I can remember. It's the preponderance of evidence versus so with in a criminal trial you have to have a reasonable doubt in order to not go to prison. But in regard to the criminal, or as you were in regard to the criminal, the civil case, it's a preponderance of evidence. Is it more reasonable that you don't like have to win a civil case? You can just say, is it likely that this dude did this stuff? You just got to get close. You don't have to be accurate. You just have to get close. And guess what? If you're convicted in a RICO case civilly, you almost get the same exact result. It ain't no fun, but there's a whole lot of really good stuff about that. But I mean, I think when we come back in the next week or so, I'll have all those things kind of put together so I can share those with everybody. It's definitely really good stuff. I think that for what we talked about today, a lot of us are coming together. A lot of us don't know that we need to. It's our job. I'm talking to black brothers, the white brothers, plaid green, I don't care, whatever brothers. Man, look, get folks together and look. Because like here's the thing I heard at the COC. The dude told me, he says, man, either we gonna ride together or we gonna drive together in the back of somebody's van on our way to county.
I like that.
Either we gonna ride together or we gonna drive together while sitting in the back of that van on our way to the county.
So listen, I haven't heard nothing from your podcast.
What you mean? What you saying? No, look. No, real talk. I've been, and this is the thing. I can't wait to say this though. I have been so busy doing biker stuff. I want to say SHI stuff, but look, I've been doing biker stuff a lot, nonstop with it, pounding the ground, doing this damn thing. And every time I say, "Oh my God, I got to get back and go ahead and do this," and I really, really swear to God, I actually want to. But dude, I can't even lie to you. I'm state to state. I'm not like going to the gas station. We breaking state lines. We doing the damn thing. And so when I do get the opportunity to go ahead and launch the show properly, I'm going to be able to just have that much more, And I think that's it's a certain amount of authenticity that comes with this versus what some of these other cats are doing, dude. I want to share some real shit with folks because I'm doing some real shit. All of us, the three of us that are on here right now, we're doing some real biker shit. And folks want to hear authenticity. They want the real, honest to God truth. And I can't give you the honest to God truth if I'm sitting on my couch 7 days a week. I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to get on that. I'm going to get on those two wheels. I'm going to twist that throttle, and I'm going to, and I can't tell you how many times a week I go, where the hell am I? That happens a couple of 3 times a week. I'm going like, what? I'm going to do just like that. Like, where the hell am I? That
I
ain't.
gotta tell you,
Life is good. Life is good.
I have sat here as long as I can. I got to get up. Everything hurts. Everything hurts. So I'm done. I love y'all both. Thank you so much for taking care of me and keeping me strong, and for your support, my good brothers on Sunday, and everybody that helped us get to this point. Uncle Shaggy, everyone.
Yeah.
Just want to say thank you, and we're going to continue bringing it, making videos that y'all can share. So thanks for tuning into the roundtable, and we will be. I've had some people get in touch with me that want to be on the roundtable, so we're going to be bringing some more folks on and interviewing you. You guys send me your information. You want to be on the roundtable? Let me know, and we'll set it up, and we will bring you on with us here, and we'll interview you. Listen, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We need that. We really need you. I'm not gonna lie. We need you to hit that like, hit that button, man. Hit that button. Hit that button, man. Hit that button. We need that very much.
Did you say hit that button?
Yeah, I think I meant to say that. Follow us on Black Dragon Biker TV on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and here on YouTube. And also, Big Bone has his show that's coming. So go over there to Big Bone's show, his new podcast YouTube show, The Big Bone Yard. So go over there and like his show for him. You can get my books, Prospects Bible, Sergeant at Arms Bible, President's Bible, Public Relations Officer's Bible, and Prospects Bible for Women's Motorcycle Clubs, available on Amazon, Kindle, or at www.blackdragonsgear.com. That's where you get the autograph versions, blackdragonsgear.com. Join our daily podcast, The Dragon's Lair Motorcycle Chaos, The Dragon's Lair, spelled Lair, on all the places where you get your, podcasts, such as iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, and all those places. Even on Pandora. Wow, isn't that cool? So check us out there. Really appreciate you guys there. Also, please join the Discord link. The Discord link is in the description box below us. If you still want to donate to the GoFundMe page for the Black Sabbath MC North Shore Chapter fundraiser, we're still taking donations there. You can get me at Black Dragon at blacksabbathmc.com. There's 2 B's in Sabbath. You can get Bone at bone.outcast@gmail.com. And you can get Bone on Instagram at Big Bone OFFO on Instagram. Now, you can get our brother OG Weasel.
OG Weasel at gmail.com. And you can support my 6-toe biker socks.
That's cool. Hey, listen, man. Thank you, brothers. I'm gonna let y'all go. Get on with your Sunday. I appreciate you getting right off the road and getting on this channel, man.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Bone, I appreciate that because I know you've been working all day because I called you first thing this morning.
Yeah.
So, thank you, man. Thank you, Weasel, calling me first thing this morning and keeping me on track. So,
Godspeed to you, brother. Godspeed to you. Get better.
Thank you. All right, folks. So that's it. My booty hurts, man. I'm getting out of here. I just want to lay down so bad, and I'm here in my studio, and I'm so sore, man. I might just lay down on the floor for a minute or two. I am sore, but hey, I'm alive, and I didn't drop my motorcycle. Listen, my dog Braveheart is missing, and I have a lot of people that follow me out there, and so there's a $500 reward for Braveheart if you should see him. He is a beautiful dog. I lost him in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So I lost him near Druid Hills and I-29, Lawrenceville Highway. So if you guys, anybody who runs into Braveheart, there's definitely a reward for him. I need my puppy back home. Somebody's got him and hasn't given him back. His name is Braveheart. I'm going to give you some different pictures because he hasn't had a haircut now for about 3 weeks. So he's going to start to get fuzzy because he's a wired-haired Jack Russell Terrier, 18 pounds, and he's got this black line. The reason you know that this dog, he's got a black line on his back that looks like leprosy that goes right down his back right there. And that black line is actually his skin. Underneath him, his skin is black spots. That he's got black spot skin that is opposite of his of his look here. So if you guys see my dog Braveheart, this is what he looks like, and he's got a black line down his back, and then right here there's a pimple just right underneath the surface of the hair that is there. That's how you would know it's him. He's missing some teeth in the front, and he is 18 pounds. He's beautiful. He's mine, and I want my damn dog back. If you guys see my dog in Atlanta, but he could be anywhere because somebody could have picked him up here and took him to Missouri or something. So he could be anywhere in the United States. If you see my dog Braveheart, let me know, man. Thank you guys so much tonight. I'm Black Dragon. That's my 2 cents. Love to hear your 2 cents in the comment section below. I will see you guys in the morning. making more videos you can share. Thanks for tuning in and get skinny. Oh, yeah. Get the book. Prepare yourself to take the helm as president of your mighty motorcycle club by delving into the pages of Black Dragon's newest book, The President's Bible, Chronicle 1, Principles of Motorcycle Club Leadership. There you will learn to advance your skills in applying the 14 scientific principles of leadership similar to those taught to officers in the United States Naval Service. Available in hardcover, paperback, and ebook. Get yours today on Amazon, Kindle, or order it at your local bookstore. Order your autographed copy from blackdragonsgear.com. Be the best motorcycle club president you can be. Get the book. Okay, here, let's check this out real quick. You know, I've been talking about my hero soap. I wanted to show you guys. Here's my empty bag of my hero soap. I actually use this stuff. I'm going to do a commercial with me in the shower. You guys will like that, won't you? Won't you guys like seeing me in the shower? I'm going to have a model with me. Some sort of maybe 2 or 3 models around me. I don't know if you guys remember the commercials that used to have Joe Namath in them. Great balls of comfort with Noxzema. You remember those commercials? Are you guys old enough for that? Where he had these models around and he's in the shower and he's got this Noxzema cream. Yeah, so I'm going to do me some, you guys want to see me naked, right? So anyway, this Hero Soap Company, I use this stuff. They sent it to me. I use it, and it's awesome stuff. And what I like about it, and I'll just be kind of cool with this, is that it's manly. It smells good. They got all kinds of soaps. They've got lavender and all these kind of manly smells. Peppermint tea tree, peppermint cool, spearmint. The woods. They have body washes now, which is new for them. They didn't have the body washes when they first contacted me, but they got them now. What I like about these folks is that they give a percentage of their sales back to charities that are focused on helping veterans and first responders. So that's they say, we want to thank you for helping us support our veterans. So if you and first responders, so if you buy some of this soap, they're going to send. You can get a subscription. That's the other thing. You can get a soap subscription, like you can get a razor blade subscription. And if you buy their soap, a few things happen. One, they send you get some soap to wash your ass. They get some money, that part of it they're going to give to veterans and first responders. And if you use the discount code Black Dragon, which is what we're hoping you use, they will give a percentage to us as well, which keeps the show supported. So good on them, good on you, good on us. And of course, you guys know I love these rings. My sister accused me of having demonic rings. How you gonna accuse me? She told me she was terrified of my rings, and she said each ring was more demonic than the one that I would previously put on. Each one was more terrifying than the previous one. And I don't understand how she could say that about my rings. My rings are cool. You gotta use some cool rings if you're these are my rings, man. So if you like rings, like I like rings, biker rings, you can go here to Gothic Rings, GTHIC.com. Just like with the soap company, if you use your discount code of Black Dragon, you get you a very cool discount, 20% in this case. I like the Medusa ring, man. They got some very cool rings here. They got Masonic rings, So use these folks. They got pewter and all kind of stuff, silver, actual silver in these rings, and they've got stainless steel rings. Man, their rings are the bomb. I like them. I wear them. So get you some, man. Get you some.